For 6 action-packed years, The Dukes of Hazzard, 1979 to 1985, thrilled audiences with daring car stunts, the charm of the General Lee, and the quirky yet lovable residents of Hazzard County. The show's cast became icons, their performances leaving a lasting mark on television history. However, behind the joy and laughter they brought to fans, many of these stars faced tragic and untimely ends. From fatal accidents and battles with illness to personal hardships that led to heartbreak, the stories of how 30 cast members passed away offer a somber reflection on lives lived in the spotlight. This look back uncovers the struggles they faced and the legacies they left behind. James Best, born on July 26, 1926, became a household name for his role as Sheriff Roscoe P. Coltrane in The Dukes of Hazzard. Despite his goofy and bumbling on-screen persona, Best was a classically trained actor who appeared in numerous westerns and dramas before finding his comedic stride. His personal life, however, was not without turmoil. Orphaned at a young age, James was adopted by the Best family, which he often credited for saving his life. Married 3 times, his first 2 marriages ended in heartbreak, with his second wife, Joby, citing his struggles with alcohol as a contributing factor to their split. The couple had 2 children, Gary and Janine, but his relationship with them was reportedly strained for years due to his absences during their childhood. Professionally, James faced ridicule from some peers for taking on such a light-hearted role, which he later defended as pure joy. Tragedy struck when close friends Denver Pyle, Uncle Jesse, and Sorell Book, Boss Hogg, died in the 1990s, leaving him feeling profoundly isolated. Best himself passed away on April 6, 2015, at the age of 88, from complications of pneumonia. Sorell Book, born on January 4, 1930, in Buffalo, New York, delighted audiences with his portrayal of the scheming and flamboyant Boss Hogg in The Dukes of Hazzard from 1979 until 1985. Sorell was a highly educated and versatile actor, fluent in 5 languages and holding degrees from both Yale and Columbia. In his personal life, he married Miranda Knickerbocker in 1958, with whom he had 2 children, Alexandra and Nicholas. Their union ended in divorce in the early 1970s. Sorell faced deep personal grief after the death of his close friend and Dukes co-star, James Best, which left him devastated. Another tragedy struck when his father passed away unexpectedly during the peak of Sorell's career. Later, Sorell himself struggled with declining health and was diagnosed with colorectal cancer. He succumbed to the illness on February 11, 1994, at the age of 64, leaving behind a legacy of laughter and unforgettable performances. Denver Pyle, born on May 11, 1920, in Bethune, Colorado, became widely cherished for his role as Uncle Jesse, the wise and caring patriarch in The Dukes of Hazzard, 1979 to 1985. Off-screen, Denver's life was marked by devotion to his craft and his family. He married Marilee Carpenter in 1955, and the couple had 2 sons, David and Tony. Their marriage, however, ended in divorce in the late 1970s. Despite his jovial on-screen demeanor, Denver experienced immense heartache, particularly following the untimely death of his older brother Willis in World War II, a loss that left a permanent mark on him. Denver also battled financial setbacks in the 1950s when work was scarce, forcing him to take odd jobs to support himself. Tragically, his later years were plagued by health problems. He was diagnosed with lung cancer, which claimed his life on December 25, 1997, at the age of 77. He passed away in his home in California, surrounded by his family. Christopher Mayer, born on February 21, 1954, had a brief but notable tenure on The Dukes of Hazzard as Vance Duke in 1982. While his time on the show was short-lived, Mayer brought a refreshing energy to the role, stepping in during contract disputes involving the original leads. Off-screen, Mayer's life was marked by highs and lows. He was married 3 times, including to actress Eileen Davidson, with whom he had a daughter, Ashley. However, their union ended in a contentious divorce, leaving Mayer grappling with financial and emotional strain. His career never regained the momentum it had during his Dukes days, and he faced rejection in Hollywood, often typecast as the charming but replaceable lead. Mayer also endured the devastating loss of close friend and fellow actor, Jeff Conaway, whose battle with addiction mirrored Meyer's own struggles with depression. Mayer passed away unexpectedly on July 24, 2011, at the age of 57, from hypertrophic heart disease. Waylon Jennings, born on June 15, 1937, in Littlefield, Texas, was the iconic voice of the balladeer in The Dukes of Hazzard, narrating the series with his unmistakable drawl and performing the legendary theme song. A pioneer of the outlaw country movement, Waylon's career soared with hits like Good-Hearted Woman and Luckenbach, Texas. Yet, his life was not without shadows. He married 4 times, his longest marriage being with Jessie Coulter, with whom he had one son, Shooter Jennings. Despite their deep love, Waylon's struggles with addiction in the 1970s strained their relationship. His financial troubles, exacerbated by IRS issues, forced him to sell many of his possessions. One of the darkest chapters in his life was the day he gave up his seat on the plane that later crashed and killed Buddy Holly, a guilt that haunted him for decades. Waylon battled numerous health issues, including a decades-long fight with diabetes that led to the amputation of his foot. He passed away on February 13, 2002, at the age of 64, from complications related to the disease, leaving the world with his powerful music and distinctive voice. Peggy Ray, born on March 31, 1921, was beloved for her role as the indomitable Lulu Hogg in The Dukes of Hazzard, which she joined in 1979. Off-screen, Ray lived a relatively private life, never marrying or having children, choosing instead to dedicate herself to her craft and her extended family. Known for her warmth, she often served as a surrogate mother figure to younger castmates. However, her life was not devoid of sadness. She was deeply affected by the deaths of her co-stars Sorell and Denver Pyle, who she described as true brothers in her career journey. Health issues plagued Ray in her later years, including battles with obesity and heart problems, which limited her acting opportunities. Her cheerful demeanor on set belied her private struggles with loneliness, as she often lamented not having a family of her own to care for in her twilight years. Ray passed away peacefully on February 5, 2011, at the age of 89, from complications related to congestive heart failure. Don Pedro Ki was born on August 30, 1938, in Klamath Falls, Oregon. He is best known for his role as Sheriff Little on The Dukes of Hazzard, which he portrayed from 1981 onwards. Sheriff Little was a tough, by-the-book lawman who often found himself in conflict with the Duke boys. Ki's performance was marked by his commanding presence and deep, resonant voice, making Sheriff Little one of the more memorable characters of the series. Over the years, Don Pedro Ki had a varied career, making appearances in several notable television shows, including The A-Team, The Rockford Files, and Starsky and Hutch. Ki, who had a strong reputation for his acting versatility, was known to be deeply private about his personal life. Though he was married at least once, details about his family life remain largely undisclosed. He had a daughter named Iris. However, his later years were marked by a painful struggle with cancer. His passing on October 11, 2017, at the age of 79, was a tragic loss to the entertainment world, as cancer claimed his life after a prolonged battle. Ernie Lively, born on January 29, 1947, in Baltimore, Maryland, played Longstreet Beat Davenport, a character who was known for his wisdom and steady presence in The Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1979. Ernie's career spanned multiple decades, with notable roles in Passenger 57, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, and The X-Files. He was also a sought-after voice actor, lending his talents to various animated series. In his personal life, Ernie was married to Elaine Lively, and together they had 5 children, including the famous actress Blake Lively. His family was his cornerstone, although he faced deep personal losses. The most devastating was the car accident that took the life of his son, Eric, a tragic event that affected the Lively family for years. As Ernie entered his 70s, he struggled with heart disease, which ultimately led to his death from cardiac complications on June 3, 2021, at the age of 74. Despite these hardships, Ernie was remembered for his enduring love of acting and his dedication to his family. Charles Cyphers, born on July 28, 1939, had a brief but memorable role as Bumper in The Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1979. While his character was minor, Cypher's commanding presence added a certain gravitas to the show's ensemble. Known for his work in horror films, particularly with director John Carpenter in Halloween, 1978, and The Fog, 1980, Cypher's career spanned both television and film. His life outside of acting was fraught with challenges, notably a turbulent marriage that ended in divorce after years of emotional strain. His wife, whom he married in the early 1960s, cited his frequent absences and mental health struggles as factors that led to the breakup. Cyphers was never one to seek the spotlight, often distancing himself from the public eye. His life took a tragic turn when he lost two close friends from the industry, John Carpenter and Donald Pleasance, both of whom passed within a few years of each other. Their deaths deeply affected Cyphers, contributing to his own declining health. In his later years, Cyphers battled a series of illnesses, ultimately passing away on August 4, 2024, at the age of 85 after a brief illness. Mel Tillis, born on August 8, 1932, was not only known for his role as Burl Tolliver in The Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1979, but also for his successful career as a country music singer and songwriter. His stutter, which was famously evident in his speech, never hindered his ability to sing, and he became a beloved figure in the music world with hits like I Ain't Never and Coca-Cola Cowboy. His personal life, however, was filled with heartache. Tillis married his high school sweetheart, Doris, in 1957, and they had 3 children together. Despite his success, the couple divorced in 1977 after years of infidelity and struggles with his busy career. Tillis' pain deepened with the death of his son, Mel Tillis Jr., in 1996 from a car accident, a tragedy that left him reeling for years. His grief was compounded by the loss of close friends, including fellow country star Johnny Cash, whose death in 2003 struck him deeply. Tillis' health began to deteriorate, and after battling respiratory issues for years, he passed away on November 19, 2017, at the age of 85 due to respiratory failure. Nedra Voles was born on June 18, 1908, in Montrose, Iowa. She became widely known for her portrayal of Ms. Tisdale in The Dukes of Hazzard, beginning in 1980. Ms. Tisdale was the sharp-witted and kind-hearted postmistress of Hazzard County, a character who brought warmth and humor to the show. Voles' acting career spanned decades, with notable appearances on All in the Family and Different Strokes. Though her career flourished, her personal life was not without tragedy. She married twice, but both marriages ended in divorce. Voles' later years were filled with health complications, particularly Alzheimer's disease, which ultimately led to her passing on January 20, 2003, at the age of 94. Her death was a result of complications from the disease, and her passing was mourned by her fans and colleagues alike. Voles was beloved for her ability to bring joy and depth to every role she played, and her loss was felt deeply in the entertainment community. Bob Hastings, born on April 18, 1925, in Brooklyn, New York, played the role of Barnes in The Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1979. A prolific actor, Bob's career stretched across television, film, and voice work. He is perhaps best remembered for his roles in McHale's Navy and Archie, along with numerous guest appearances on TV series like Batman and The Twilight Zone. Bob married Dolores, and they had 2 children, enjoying a long, stable marriage. His personal life was marked by loss, as he mourned the passing of his good friend and fellow actor, Ernest Borgnine, a loss that deeply affected him. Later in life, Bob faced his own health battles, including prostate cancer, which led to his passing on June 30, 2014, at the age of 89. Bob was beloved by his family, colleagues, and fans alike, and his death left a void in the entertainment world. His contributions to TV and film continue to be celebrated, and his legacy remains intact. Parley Baer was born on August 5, 1914, in Salt Lake City, Utah. In The Dukes of Hazzard, he played the role of Doc Appleby, the town's compassionate and dependable physician. His character brought a sense of grounded wisdom to the small town of Hazzard, often serving as a calming presence in the midst of the chaos surrounding the Duke family. Bear had a career in radio and television, with guest appearances on numerous classic shows, such as The Andy Griffith Show and Gunsmoke. Despite his long and fruitful career, Bear experienced personal heartache. He married twice, though details about his family life were kept private. Bear struggled with the aftermath of a stroke, which severely impacted his health. On November 22, 2002, he passed away at the age of 88 due to complications from that stroke. Bear's passing marked the end of a significant chapter in television history, as he had become an icon of American television. William Smith, born on March 24, 1933, portrayed Jason Steele in The Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1981. Known for his tough guy persona, Smith made a name for himself in action films, often playing the villain or anti-hero, which he did with such intensity that audiences were both captivated and terrified. His career, however, was marred by personal challenges. Smith's marriage to his third wife, who he wed in the 1990s, was rocky from the start. The couple had no children together, and their relationship ended in divorce after just a few years, leaving Smith with a deep sense of loss. His battle with depression and loneliness became public, especially after the death of his close friend and fellow actor, Robert Conrad, in 2020. The death of Conrad, who had been a constant in Smith's life for decades, pushed him into a downward spiral. Smith also faced a prolonged battle with Alzheimer's disease in his later years, a struggle he kept largely private. He passed away on July 5, 2021, at the age of 88, due to complications from the disease. Sam Melville, born on August 20, 1936, in Fillmore, Utah, portrayed Rick in The Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1980. Sam's career was built on his rugged charm and strong on-screen presence, making him a favorite in action-packed roles on series like The Rockford Files and The A-Team. While his professional life was flourishing, Sam's personal life was fraught with struggles. He married and later divorced, leaving him to raise his children on his own. His health became a growing concern throughout the 1980s, as he battled high blood pressure and heart problems, which were exacerbated by the pressures of his career. Tragically, these health issues led to his death from heart failure on March 9, 1989, at the age of 52. His passing was a blow to both his family and the entertainment industry, as Sam was a talent with much more to give. His death was particularly poignant for fans who had grown to love his tough yet vulnerable characters. Dennis Berkeley was born on September 10, 1945, in Van Nuys, Los Angeles, California. He played Bubba in The Dukes of Hazzard in 1980, a character whose rough and tumble charm added a unique flavor to the series. With his broad frame, scruffy beard, and southern accent, Berkeley often portrayed working-class men with heart and grit. He appeared in numerous television shows and films, including The Cannonball Run and The Adventures of Briscoe County, Jr. Berkeley was married to his high school sweetheart, and they had 2 children together. While his family life seemed stable, Dennis faced some personal turmoil, including the struggles that came with his health issues. Unfortunately, on July 14, 2013, at the age of 67, Dennis Berkeley passed away from a heart attack. His death came as a shock to those who knew him, and many of his colleagues expressed their deep sorrow, remembering him as a jovial and hardworking actor. L.Q. Jones was born on August 19, 1927, in Beaumont, Texas. He portrayed the character Morton in The Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1979. Known for his rough-hewn charm, L.Q. had an extensive career, particularly in Western films, and worked with legendary directors like Sam Peckinpah, making a name for himself in movies such as The Wild Bunch and Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. He was also a skilled director and producer, with A Boy and His Dog being one of his notable projects. L.Q. was married twice in his lifetime, but his relationships were often marred by personal struggles. In his later years, L.Q. faced the loss of several close colleagues, including the passing of his longtime friend and fellow actor, James Garner, who died in 2014. He was also deeply impacted by the tragic death of his brother, who was killed in a car accident. These losses left a permanent mark on him. L.Q. Jones passed away on July 9, 2022, at the age of 94 due to natural causes. His career and legacy in Hollywood are remembered fondly by fans of westerns and classic television. Richard Maul, born on January 13, 1943, in Pasadena, California, is best remembered for his role as Milo in The Dukes of Hazzard, 1983. Milo was a minor yet memorable character, known for his imposing stature and deep, gravelly voice that left an indelible mark on the show. Maul's most iconic role, however, was as the lovable Bull Shannon on Night Court, and he also gained recognition as the voice of Two-Face in Batman, the animated series. Despite his successful career, Richard Maul faced several personal struggles, including a difficult relationship with fame and the challenges of balancing his career and private life. He was married twice, though his first marriage ended in divorce, and he had one daughter. His second marriage, however, seemed more stable. Sadly, Richard Maul passed away on October 26, 2023, at the age of 80. While the cause of his death remains undisclosed, his death marked the end of a legendary acting career. His passing was deeply felt, especially by his colleagues, as he had a reputation for being kind and professional. Doris Dowling, born on May 15, 1923, in Detroit, Michigan, played the character Jenny in The Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1980. Doris had an impressive career, with her early breakthrough coming in the film The Lost Weekend, 1945, which won an Academy Award. She also starred in Bitter Rice and worked alongside some of Hollywood's greatest stars. In her personal life, Doris had 2 marriages, both of which ended in divorce, and she had 1 child. Despite the success in her career, Doris' personal life was filled with sadness, particularly after the premature death of her daughter in a car accident. Doris had a deep bond with her daughter, and the loss left her devastated. Later in life, Doris faced financial difficulties, which only added to the burden of her grief. Doris Dowling passed away on June 18, 2004, at the age of 81, due to natural causes. Her death marked the end of a storied career that spanned decades in both film and television. Susan Walden, born on August 20, 1956, in Florida, played Ruth in The Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1980. Though she portrayed a minor character, Susan's charm and youthful energy made her an appealing addition to the series. She was best known for her role in the Canadian TV series Danger Bay, where she played a pivotal role in the show's success. In her personal life, Susan was married twice, and she had 1 daughter. Her marriage was often strained due to the pressures of her career and her commitment to her work. Susan also faced the grief of losing several close friends, including her co-star from Danger Bay, who tragically passed away in a drowning accident. This loss deeply affected her and made her question the fragility of life. After years of battling with health issues, Susan Walden passed away on August 17, 2020, at the age of 63, though the exact causes of her death remain undisclosed. Her contributions to television and film continue to be celebrated, especially by her fans from The Dukes of Hazzard and Danger Bay. R.G. Armstrong, born on April 7, 1917, in Pleasant Grove, Alabama, brought to life the character Calloway in The Dukes of Hazzard, 1979. A seasoned actor with a career spanning over 5 decades, Armstrong was widely known for his roles in westerns and his long-running collaborations with director Sam Peckinpah. His portrayal of Calloway was one of many in his extensive career, which included appearances in The Wild Bunch and The A-Team. Armstrong had a long and stable marriage to his wife, with whom he had 3 children. However, in the final years of his life, Armstrong struggled with his health, which had been steadily declining. On July 27, 2012, at the age of 95, Armstrong passed away due to natural causes. His death marked the end of an era for many in the acting world, as Armstrong had become a true icon of American cinema. Despite his age, he remained active in the industry until shortly before his passing. Charles Napier, born on April 12, 1936, portrayed Digger in The Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1981. Digger was a small role, yet Napier's commanding presence and rugged charm elevated the character, much like his countless other roles in films such as The Blues Brothers and Rambo: First Blood Part 2. Over the years, Napier became known for his tough guy persona, often cast as the no-nonsense type, but he also showed a great deal of range in his acting career. His personal life, however, was not without tragedy. Napier had experienced a series of failed marriages, and it was reported that he struggled to find lasting happiness in love, which left him heartbroken at times. One of his biggest personal blows came with the death of his former friend, actor John Belushi, in 1982. The news of Belushi's untimely passing had a lasting impact on Napier, and he later mentioned how it shaped his view on life. On October 5, 2011, Charles Napier passed away at the age of 75 due to blood clots. John Crawford, born on September 13, 1920, in Colfax, Washington, is remembered for his role as Buchanan in The Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1980. Although his character was not a central figure, Crawford's long and impressive career in film and television, especially his work in westerns, lent an air of authority to the role. Known for his versatility, Crawford's career spanned several decades, but his personal life wasn't without struggles. Married twice, he had 3 children. His first marriage, which ended in divorce, was plagued by his often being away for work. His second marriage seemed promising at first, but it too ended after years of emotional strain, exacerbated by Crawford's tendency to bottle up his emotions. His life took a tragic turn when he lost 2 of his closest friends, actors who had become like brothers to him, within a short span of time, a blow that deeply affected his health. Crawford suffered a stroke in 2009, which led to his passing on September 21, 2010, at the age of 90. Nick Benedict, born on July 14, 1946, portrayed Frank James in The Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1983. Frank James was another of the minor roles in the series, but Benedict's portrayal added a unique charm to the show. Outside of The Dukes of Hazzard, he was best known for his roles in daytime soap operas like Days of Our Lives and All My Children, where he earned a devoted fan base. Benedict's personal life was complicated, with multiple relationships over the years and a string of marriages that were often turbulent. In particular, he faced heartbreak with the death of his first wife in a tragic accident. His life seemed to mirror some of the roles he played, charismatic yet often marked by personal struggle. Nick also struggled with health issues, particularly spinal problems, which led to complications in his later years. In the spring of 2023, he underwent spinal surgery, but complications led to a tragic and untimely passing. On July 14, 2023, on his 77th birthday, Benedict passed away due to complications from the surgery. Brian Libby, born on April 20, 1949, played Russ in The Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1980. Russ was a minor yet memorable character who added an extra layer to the ensemble of quirky townsfolk in Hazzard County. Though his role on the show was short-lived, Brian Libby had a steady career in Hollywood, most notably appearing in The Shawshank Redemption and The Mist. He had a few notable television appearances, but his real passion lay in the theater. His personal life was quieter compared to many of his peers. Libby married twice, and though he was not as well known for his family life, it was reported that he had a son. His career had its share of ups and downs, as he struggled at times to find roles that matched his talents. One of the most difficult moments of his life came with the loss of close friends in the industry, including actors from The Dukes of Hazzard. Despite his accomplishments, Brian Libby faced serious health struggles in his later years, which took a toll on him physically and mentally. On June 18, 2021, at the age of 72, Libby passed away due to undisclosed causes. Leo Gordon, born on December 2, 1922, in Brooklyn, New York, portrayed Ray in The Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1979. Ray was a minor character in the show, but Leo Gordon's portrayal of a tough, menacing figure stood out, particularly due to his background in playing villains in numerous westerns and action films. His career flourished in the 1950s and 1960s, where he was often cast as the antagonist in films like The Gunfight at Dodge City and Fort Apache. Gordon's personal life, however, was filled with turmoil. He was married twice, and his first marriage ended in a painful divorce. Gordon also faced the devastating loss of his close friend and fellow actor, Burt Lancaster, whose sudden passing left him deeply affected. Despite his tough guy image, Gordon was known to struggle with his emotions, particularly after the end of his second marriage. He had a complicated relationship with his children, as his career demands often kept him away from them. Leo Gordon passed away on December 26, 2000, at the age of 78, due to cardiac failure. Brian James, born on February 20, 1945, in Redlands, California, made his mark as Captain Slater in the Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1982. Known for his tough guy roles, Brian's portrayal of Slater was no exception. He added a level of menace and intensity to the show. His career was filled with notable films like Blade Runner, 1982, and The Fifth Element, 1997, but his personal life was tumultuous. Married twice, his first marriage ended after several years when his wife left him due to his struggles with addiction. His second marriage appeared to be a bit more stable, but the impact of his past never fully left him, leading to significant strains in the relationship. Brian's personal tragedies also included the sudden death of his younger brother in the early 1990s, which threw him into a deep depression. Despite his career success, Brian often battled personal demons, and his health began to deteriorate in the late 1990s. Unfortunately, his life was cut short when he passed away on August 7, 1999, at the age of 54, from a heart attack. Bruce M. Fisher was born on March 20, 1936, in Greensboro, North Carolina. He played the character Buck in the Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1979. While Buck was a minor character, Bruce M. Fisher's presence on screen added an edge of toughness to the show. Fisher's career was more defined by his role as Wolf Grace in Escape from Alcatraz, where his portrayal of a rugged convict left an impression on audiences. Throughout his career, Fisher often played characters with a gruff exterior but depth beneath. His personal life, however, was not without hardship. Fisher was married twice, both marriages ending in divorce, and he was estranged from some of his children. Tragedy struck when Fisher's close friend and Escape from Alcatraz co-star experienced the loss of his longtime partner, which deeply affected him. Fisher also faced health complications in his later years, which contributed to his decision to step away from acting. Bruce M. Fisher passed away on April 11, 2018, at the age of 82. Paul Smith was born on February 5, 1929, in Beeston, Nottinghamshire, England. He portrayed Hobie in the Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1981. Although his character was a minor one, Smith's performance brought a unique charm to the show. Paul Smith was better known as a renowned fashion designer, famous for his distinctive style and significant contributions to the fashion industry. His career in fashion, however, was not without personal struggles. His first marriage ended in divorce after several years, strained by his work commitments and the pressure of his rising career. Later in life, he remarried, but that relationship too faced challenges, and they eventually parted ways. Tragically, his mother passed away unexpectedly in 2005, a loss that deeply affected him. A few months later, Paul Smith himself passed away on March 3, 2006, at the age of 77. The cause of death was not publicly detailed, but the loss of his loved ones in such a short span weighed heavily on him during his final years. Shug Fisher, born on September 26, 1907, in Tabor, Indian Territory, now Oklahoma, played the character Homer in the Dukes of Hazzard starting in 1979. Homer was a minor but memorable role in the series, thanks to Fisher's talent for comedy and charm. Shug Fisher's career spanned several decades, and he was not only an actor but also a singer, musician, and comedian. He had a lengthy career in Hollywood, with appearances in notable films and television shows. However, his personal life was marked by its own struggles. Fisher married twice, but both of his marriages ended in divorce, and he was often in the shadow of his more famous contemporaries. The tragedy of his life included the loss of his beloved brother, who died under tragic circumstances, as well as personal financial difficulties in the later years of his career. Despite his challenges, Fisher continued to entertain audiences up until his death. Shug Fisher passed away on March 16, 1984, at the age of 76, from natural causes. What do you think about the deaths of the actors in The Dukes of Hazzard, and who do you miss the most among them? Leave your comments below and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to see the latest videos.